In actual fact, I believe we actually went 30,000, between 30 to 20,000 below the budget that we set for ourselves, the initial budget that we set for ourselves.
So if you're putting more than 10%, you would then be required, for example, we put 25%.
Yeah, so we then send the 15%.
Then send the rest of the 15%
we then send the 15% over a few days before, as well as any other lawyer fees and things like that.
This is where everything, like literally your fat bank account goes to a nice skinny bank account.
As for me and my household, we shall serve the Lord. So God, I pray, keep us in this faith, my God. Whatever and anything that we do, let it be to the honor and the glory of your holy name. As we get married and bring kids into our marriage, my Father, let it be for the honor and the glory of your name.
Yes. My God, I thank you for this blessing that you have given to us. As we are here about to open the door to our new house, to our new life, my God, I ask for you to take control.
Amen.
This is a great thing that we are about to receive. I pray, my Lord Jesus, that everything that we do, the memories, the experiences that we have in this house will be happy ones, will be blessed.
In the wrong door. This is the actual door, so we've got two doors.
So that's door number 1.
And
this is door number 2.
You ready?
Yes. And let's go in.
Cut it off, I don't want no one in my house. Look at her dancing. So yeah, this is the view from the... I am recording. This is the gazebo. I've got spider webs in my hair. What are you doing? What are you doing, Susan? You look nice, by the way. Look at that. Whoa, is that you? What? Go on, dear girl. Go on, what? Go on, dear girl. And that's the... What's this again? Oh, it's got a barn door. That's cool. That's the shed. I'm actually going to use this just as a utility room. Whereas that over there, that's my studio.
Okay, so guys, obviously you've seen, we've gone into the house, we've collected our keys, and we've had a look at it, and it's everything that we wanted it to be.
More than everything we wanted to be.
Well, it looks perfect, and we really can't wait to move in. Like,
We met with our neighbours.
So we met our neighbours and they're so lovely. And thank you for coming with us.
Thanks for watching.
To pick up our keys.
Leave your comments down below what you think.
If you have any questions, any suggestions.
Don't worry, we're gonna have vlogs coming down soon as to pretty much the process of what we went through, what we faced, the hurdles that we had to jump over, and
until then, subscribe, like and comment. Today we are basically going to be talking about the mortgage process. So obviously we bought our house now, and we've been here for how many months? 2 months? 3 months?
We're going into the third month now.
3 months now, and beforehand we've been getting quite a lot of questions. Quite a lot of people ask us how we went about doing it, and the process of getting a mortgage. So we've been able to answer a few questions here and there, but we thought we'd just bring out a video and
just breaking down the process.
Just break down the entire process, so you just get a chance to see what we did.
Of course, do bear in mind that people's mortgage process, I mean, those who've been through it as well, you can of course vouch that everyone's step is quite different from the other. So don't be alarmed if perhaps maybe your steps didn't really go according to how ours went. And also those of you taking notes as well, don't really take it as the God spoken truth that it has to go this way.
Exactly. So I mean, of course, we when we were looking to start the mortgage process, we were looking online and things to find out people who had previously done the same thing, but we couldn't find anyone who has done the same thing as us.
Exactly.
So of course, we are catering to people here in England, and people who might be facing what we're facing too.
Step number 1 is to get your finances in order. People might be like, okay, you know what, I'm self-employed, I'm employed, so who exactly are you speaking to? I'll speak for the employed people, and then you speak for self-employed. Okay, so if you're employed, ideally they would say, have between 6 months to a year's worth of pay slips. So you should be employed for that period of time. However, depending on your lender's criteria, because different lenders have different lending criteria, so you need to find out what the criteria are. Some might just accept 3 months worth of pay slips. However, I would advise, just to be on the safe side, have at least between 4, 5. However, of course, if you have more, take all of them with you. But if you have less than that, don't be discouraged. Just go for at least that 3 to 4 months. In addition to that as well, throughout your pay slips, make sure you have a read through them. Read through them carefully, because you would be surprised, especially the Africans, whose names might be a bit tricky to spell or to pronounce, or I'm one of them. So it's very easy for them to get your name wrong.
Or to miss out a letter.
Exactly, on your pay slips. And you might think to yourself, nah, they know who I am at work anyways. So what, my name's Olatunji, but they call me Olatunde. It doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? It really does, because at the end of the day, that's not who you are, and it will cause problems later on.
It has to match all your forms of ID.
Indeed. So it's just not acceptable. So have a read through that. Although it happened to me for like 3 months, they're less likely to get your wages wrong. They're very likely to get your perhaps bonuses or commissions wrong. So if you get any bonuses, any commission, make sure it's actually documented on your payslip correctly. In my case, I was being paid a bonus, but it was called a commission. So that could be problematic as well, because it's not what it is. It needs to be accurate on your pay slips. So have a read through that, make sure there are no discrepancies. Reason why, because it will slow down the process. When it goes to the underwriters, if you think, oh yeah, they're not gonna say, they will find it, believe me, they're lending you money, they will find it. So those would be the steps that I would advise for those who are employed.
For self-employed people, such as people who work as a sole trader, so what you would be required to have is at least 2 years worth of financial assessments. And by financial assessments, I mean 2 years worth of tax return. So as a sole trader, or even if you own your own business, you need to have on account 2 years of trading as a business or trading as a sole trader. So that will come in the form of a tax return. Once you have this, you'd be able to go to HMRC. You can either call them, you would call them, and basically ask them for them to send you your SA3002 form. Now this is basically evidence that you have paid your tax, and evidence of what you've earned in that financial year, as well as if you have any other outgoing, say for example if you have a student loan. So all of that will be broken down, and it will just show that you paid your tax in that financial year and exactly what you owed. So there would be no discrepancies at all. So you require at least 2 years worth of this. That is just standard. Most lenders, if not all lenders, require this. So just make sure you have at least 2 years. If you have been a sole trader or a business for longer than 2 years, say for example 5 or 10 years or however long, you probably need the most recent 2 years. Sometimes, for example, you may have earned less in one financial year and earned more in another financial year. That was my case. So in my first year as a sole trader, I earned a bit less because I was working part-time, and as well as that I didn't work for the entire financial year. So I started working in August, and of course the financial ended in April, so that was like 8 months of work. So of course I didn't earn that much. But the second financial year, I was working full-time, and I was working for the entire 12-month period, so I earned a lot more. So when the lender sees this, they can actually see that you are actually making profit.
Indeed.
And what they'll do is they'll take your 2 tax years together and divide it by 2 to get an average of what you're likely to earn, as the time goes on. So for example, if maybe your 2 most recent years were quite bad, or maybe you didn't earn as much, try and bring in the other years as well, as many years as you have, so that they can at least see what you've been earning beforehand. So maybe you just had like a bad year or something, or business was a bit slow, or you had a sickness or something like that, so you weren't able to work as much. If you bring your other financial assessments, then you can at least show them that your business or your sole trading business is making profit. So don't let that put you off. A lot of the times when you are a sole trader, you'll then realize that okay, you can save a bit of money being running as a business, like running your own business. That's because when you run your own business, you can sometimes pay less tax, because you've got other business expenses, so that's all deducted.
So basically you're speaking directly to those who think to themselves, you know what,
I'm trying to save myself money.
Save myself more money by not declaring too much, or saying that I am making so much profit,
or transferring to a business to save more money just before you do your mortgage application. Don't
so
do
it
that.
doesn't always work out for the best.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough, you're saving cash. However, if it is that you're looking to borrow cash as a form of leverage, because that's what you're doing, you're leveraging. If you're trying to borrow cash to leverage, you're trying to show them that you are indeed in a good position to actually pay off this money.
Yeah, so you want to show them that you are earning as much as possible,
indeed.
And that you will be able to make back repayments.
Yeah.
So don't necessarily think, let me switch to a business, and that way because when you switch to a business, you know that you will, in order to save yourself money, you'd probably be paying yourself minimum wage.
Indeed.
And then you don't even have to tax that minimum wage. However, it looks like you're earning minimum wage.
Yeah.
So then they won't really want to lend you as much money as you really want.
Yeah,
so it's best
you
to
want
declare
fit to that
everything.
criteria.
Yeah. And then once your mortgage process has been done and complete, then you can make the switch to a business.
Indeed. Of course, as far as getting your finances in order goes, you would also need to make sure that the deposit payment are ready, in your account. That's could be perhaps maybe your savings. If you're borrowing from the bank of mom and dad, by all means,
make sure that money is already in your account.
Make sure the money is in your account already. The lawyer fees as well. The land registry fees, every single thing. I know, but just getting your finances in order. Just make sure everything is all accounted for in the account.
And of course, try not to make any crazy purchases just before you start your mortgage.
Indeed.
For one of the lenders we went to, they even went back quite a lot, more than 6 months.
Any hired purchases, perhaps car hire purchases, buy now, pay later. Try to avoid.
Limit that.
Even cash payment as well.
Limit that 6 months before you start your mortgage application.
Indeed.
Try not to go any crazy shopping sprees where you're spending £5,000, £6,000, because all of that looks as if you're reckless with your money and you spend quite a lot in a short period of time. So try and limit your expenses as much as you can within that 6 months of starting your mortgage process. It just works out better. Even
if you're expecting a kid, I know it's kind of harsh to say, oh, don't be buying stuff, and you need to be careful, because even if you buy things, if you're buying baby buggies and beds and things like that, disclose that to the bank when they ask you, or if they ask you, because if you say no, I don't have any kids. Later on they will go through your bank statement and be like, okay, this month you've spent so much amount, so it doesn't really match with what you're saying, and so forth. So they might be a bit skeptical in lending you. So just be honest.
Be honest. That's the downline.
That's as far as getting your finances in order will go. So step number two is
set your budget.
Set the budget. Set it, don't go over it.
Just set it.
Just set the budget.
So setting the budget is pretty simple. If you're doing the mortgage process on your own, of course it'll be easier because you're only thinking about yourself and you know exactly what you spend, what you earn. So you're just thinking about, okay, myself, and you'd go to the lenders with your own documents. However, if you're doing it with a partner or someone else, then you need to consider both.
Indeed. See what of course you can afford. Don't go for what it is that you like. In our mortgage process, I put my hands up. I was the one who got a bit excited. I know. I was going over the budget every time, so I would always look at properties that were above our budget.
Yes.
Not saying that we could not afford it. We could afford it, but it just wasn't our budget, sort of thing. It's always good to set the budget. Try to not always go for the maximum. Always leave that leeway to negotiate. And
so, for example, if it looks as if, okay, you know what, you're going to get by with, going for a house that's worth £350,000.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily go ahead and start only going for houses worth £350,000.
Indeed.
Go lower. Start looking at houses for about 300, and then you can, have a bit of leeway in case something happens or the bank isn't ready to borrow you as much.
In actual fact, I believe we actually went 30,000. Between 30 to 20,000 below the budget that we set for ourselves, the initial budget that we set for ourselves.
So always go below, because then that way you have a leeway and you can, you know that if anything was to happen, something financial, there's a problem or there's an emergency, you've got enough money to be able to make those payments.
Indeed.
So as well, with setting your budget, how it works is that you will take what you earn, and you will take, if you're doing it with someone else, you take what you earn and you take what your partner earns, and you multiply multiply it by I think 4.5.
It depends on the lender. They all have different.
Yeah, generally it's about 4 to 4.5.
Indeed,
and that would give you what
the average
you're
of what
looking
you can get. Some people as well, you can also go online and play with the online calculator as well. You put in how much you earn, you put in your expenses, your outgoing, your incoming. If you're doing it, joint as well, you can put the person's coming, going, earnings and things like that, and it pretty much gives you a rough estimate of what you can afford.
Yeah.
However, just have that, take that with a bit of a pinch of salt, because when you do sit down with the, financial advisors, they would probably go a lot less than that. Yeah. And as she said as well, try to leave leeway, try not to, strain your budgets. For instance, if it is that you're earning, I don't know, probably £500 a month or maybe £600 a month for commission, don't disclose the entire £600. Just tell them, you know what, I earn, give or take, $450. So that gives you the average of that $150 to do whatever it is you want to do with. Yeah. And also, it depends on what you're planning for in the future as well. If you're looking to put money aside to save, this enables you to do that best as well. So it really does help you out in that way.
Okay, step number 3.
Step number 3
is AIP.
AIP. What is an AIP?
AIP means... AIP is agreement in principle. So once you set your budget, once you sort of know, okay, I can afford this, from all my calculations, it's looking like I can afford a house, I can basically borrow at least £300,000 from the bank. Mm-hmm. So what you would then do is go to lenders, such as high street banks, what else? Mortgage brokers.
You can check out mortgage brokers. You can also online, some banks do it online as well. Yeah. And you can then take out a printout of what it's giving you to the bank.
So what you do is you would give your finance, you would give your earnings, you would give your expenses, you would give any other thing you have going on, such as student
liabilities,
loan,
everything.
And it will give you a figure. So it will come back with a figure, a calculation of what it's gonna borrow you.
Bear in mind that this is not a legally binding contract. Yes. It basically just says that if this information that you've been given to us is all correct, and if we do our checks, and it's also subject to credit check as well, if it all goes according to plan, we can lend you this much if your circumstances does not change. But you need to be careful as well, because some banks might claim to do a soft credit check when it comes to your AIP. However, you do go back and you realize that it wasn't a soft credit check, and it leaves the footprint on your credit report. And if you keep on doing this over and over again, maybe just playing with it, seeing what you can get, maybe you're not ready and you say, let me just try it out. Don't do that. Why? Because when and if you're ready, and the banks actually do go ahead and say, they'll be like, okay, why have you been to HSBC in so and so place and done this and done that? Why didn't it go through? Mm-hmm. What's been happening? So it comes across as you've been turned down by all these people. Meanwhile, they just claimed that they were doing a soft credit check.
So just make sure they are indeed doing a soft credit check and not a real credit check.
Even with the mortgage brokers as well, not just only.
Yeah, mortgage brokers can sometimes do a credit check on you. So just be careful that it's a soft credit check and make sure that it indeed is a soft credit check, because you don't want that footprint there, because the more you check your credit,
we'll cover this. We can actually cover this in other videos as well. We'll break it down. We'll break down credit checks.
So we'll do another video based on credit checks.
Indeed.
But anyways, so go ahead and get your AIP. Yeah. Try and get it from as many lenders as you want, but try not to go overboard because of course of the credit check. Yeah. But again, with the AIP, you just go ahead. You can either do it in the bank, and they just go through everything with your expenses, etc., and they give you a figure, or you can do it online by yourself. But I would say probably going to the bank is better to have all your information ready, and that way you don't get any surprises when you comes to doing your actual mortgage.
And don't cut no corners as well.
Yes,
just be honest and
declare everything. If you've got a baby coming, declare it. If you've got we didn't declare everything.
If you've got a wedding coming, don't. It depends.
We didn't declare that we were planning a wedding
because we hadn't started making payments then
for the wedding. Exactly. We knew if we had said, we're planning to get married in 6 months' time, they would have put that into our calculations, our figures, and probably set the budget higher than what we paid for our wedding. So they'll probably say, on average, a wedding probably costs £20,000.
Yeah.
And then a whole chunk of £20,000.
So like £25,000 is what they'll stick on.
Exactly, but we know we're not even going to spend anywhere near £20,000 for a wedding, so we didn't declare the wedding.
Step number 4, you need to pick an area.
Yes.
And it's very important that you take quite a few things into consideration when it comes to picking an area.
Go on.
Such as distance, how far away is this from your family? How far away is it from your job? How sociable, you know what I mean? If you play football every Saturdays with the lads, like how far away is it from them?
Yeah, so the area itself, just think, okay, you know what, is this like a very, very, you know, family neighborhood?
Indeed, the crime rate.
Yeah.
You can always go online as well at police.net if you're in England, and you can check out the crime rates in your area. You can actually check out how many burglaries has happened in the past week or month, and it breaks it down, the ones that have been reported to the police and the crime that's happened, so you can actually gauge how much crime is taking place in the area and what type of crime it is.
Yeah, well, along with picking your area, the best thing to do is to also go on Rightmove and Zoopla and any other sites that work with houses. With regards to also Zoopla and Rightmove, what you want to do with that is also make sure that they have all your details. Indeed. Because with registering with those sites, the agent also gets your information. So for example, if you see a house you like, you can also, you know, type in or say that you want to view this house at some point, and the agent has your details. So any house that comes, like any house that or flat that meets that requirement, you get alerts for it. So it's always good.
In essence, you know, have a good working relationship with the agents.
Yeah. So with regards to picking your area, of course, many people want to stay, you know, close to where they're originally from. If that's your case, if you don't have in mind to move all the way to Yorkshire, then of course the best way to do it is to, you know, think a bit like, you know, like a little bubble. So you're in this area
like a drop
right
of
now.
water.
Yeah, and you're in this particular area, and you know you want to find an area that's affordable. You come out a little bit. Is it affordable? No. Then you move out a little bit. Is it affordable? Yes. Then you stay in that area. If not, you keep going out of that circle until you find the area that is affordable for you. And of course, taking in consideration the distance from your job, from your family, and all of that, then you can you know, go ahead with that area.
I mean, sometimes you can never find that magical 3-bedroom house that gives you the distance, and sometimes it's a give and take. Exactly. Sometimes you have to probably travel 5 more miles in and then get that 3-bedroom, or you know, you give up that extra 1 bedroom to get that 5 miles closer. So sometimes there's a bit of a, you know, give and take. So you need to be open-minded with it. You can never ever get it precisely as you've imagined.
The perfect place. I mean, also just consider as well the thing with about, you know, getting the distance. A major part of it is your transportation. Indeed, especially if you work, you know, a bit further. If you're ready to relocate your work, then that's fine. However, if you're still planning to keep your position, and maybe, you know, it's a 2-hour away from your work, or even 3 hours, consider transport. Consider
that means you're having to wake up perhaps maybe earlier every morning now to go to work, so you're not turn up late, and you're always having to come back home later.
Exactly.
It's always good as well to visit these areas at different times of the day, so you know how it is at rush hour, you know how it is in the morning when you're having to go to work or when you're coming back home. So try to, like, you know, pick different times to go there. Don't just go there on a Saturday 3 o'clock in the afternoon and thinking, oh, it's a quiet neighborhood. It's not always like that.
It only took me about half an hour to get here. Try getting there Monday at 8 a.m. and then you'll see in the morning when you're trying to go to work.
Trust me. So that goes with it as well.
So
step number 5.
View houses. So this is the fun part for a lot of people. It wasn't really fun for me because I would get attached to a particular house. As soon as I view it, I'll be like, I love this house, I want this one, and then it'll be off the market, and I'm like, oh man.
It was fun for me because then, like, it was good because we also had like a running gag within each other. We had a running gag as to who can pick the worst house. My house had potential. No. The house that I picked had potential. Yours was just like a box. Imagine a bedroom, living room, kitchen. It was just a box. Dining room, just literally just a straight room, all in one.
Now imagine, and this is the guy that wants to have a family, right? You walk into the house, it's 1 room. You go up the stairs, it's 2 rooms. It's literally, there's no communal area. It's just room after room after room. It looked like a student house. It looked like a student house. That's what it looked like.
And it had a basement.
Guess where the kitchen was? The kitchen was on the ground. Kitchen was on the
so
ground.
the food doesn't smell up.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
horrible.
Okay, yeah, point is, alright, when it comes to viewing the houses, you have so much fun, but don't get carried away thinking to yourself, you know what, I can touch this up, I can do this, I can do that. No, you need to consider where you are in life. If you're a working professional, and you need to be at work Monday to Friday, Saturday comes now, you barely have enough time for yourself. Sunday, you need to probably go to church or whatever. You don't have that time to be there, you know, nailing the wall, trying to replaster everywhere.
Exactly. So,
you need to consider all these things.
So when you view houses, obviously take notes. Always take notes, because you wouldn't imagine how confused you get with houses, especially if you're like, we didn't have a lot of time. Well, we only had like the weekend, and even that was some weekends because we worked on the weekend. So it was literally one Saturday we'd try and view as many as possible, maybe 10, maybe even more. And if that's your case, always have a piece of paper, write down notes, because you will forget.
In some cases as well, if you can record. Remember we did this.
We did some recordings.
When after you finish finish your viewing, record yourself, you know, giving a feedback of what you thought of the house. Because sometimes even if you write it down, you might not remember what you felt. Because when you walk into the house, it's a feeling. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's either you click or you don't. And when you record yourself and you give, I wasn't really feeling this, and you know, we could do more with this, we could do more with that. You would remember a lot more.
The other thing as well is just be aware of your agent that's viewing the house with you, because they might be like, oh, they will sell it to you, that's their job. So they'll be like, oh yeah, you can do this with this room, this here can be converted to this, and blah blah blah.
What you should say is, hey, what up, you're not living in this house with us, it is us, so let me decide. If you're getting this house with someone else, don't try to compromise for the person. Fair enough, I knew that we're getting a house together because we're going to be married, we're going to live in the house together. However, I am not going to say, you know what, just because you want a small kitchen, I'm gonna, no, I love my kitchen, I love this space. And for yourself, it could be, you know what,
bedrooms.
Your bedrooms, you need that space in the bedroom. And I could say, no, we could do, no, don't compromise. The last thing you want to do is to go into something, because this can go on for years. There are people who take out, you know, mortgages for 25 years, 30 years in some cases. So you need to make sure that what it is you're getting yourself into, you know, you're happy with it and you can live with it. We went into houses where we walked out, we were like, we weren't even there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we just knew it's not for us.
We knew it was going to work out. There was some that we went into. I just want to give you guys a visual representation of like what we're talking about. There's some that we went into. When you walk into it, you see the bathroom on the lower ground floor.
Next to the kitchen.
There were some that you have to walk through the kitchen to get to the bathroom. Not the toilet, the bathroom. So imagine you've got guests, alright? You walk through the living room to get to the kitchen. You walk through the kitchen to get to the bathroom, have your shower, and then you gotta come up now with your towel, like through the guest, and then through the kitchen, slippery and all nasty, to go upstairs to get ready. It's just disgusting.
It's just not gonna work out.
It's not gonna work out at all.
I mean, some people might be happy with that, but we were just against that idea. So, if, for example, I think before viewing houses, if you're doing it with a partner, obviously write down or have your set, you know, non-compromisable features of a house. For example, yours was having a big kitchen. We're not gonna compromise on that. My one was, you know, having a nice bedrooms, like at least 3 bedrooms, and at least good space in the house, you know. So have your features that you don't want to do without.
Bonus, if you find that, then try to stretch if you can for
so ours was okay, you know what, even if we get all those features, a nice big garden would help as well. So we managed to get that as well. So
it just goes on. And also when viewing this house as well, try to find out if this house is on a chain.
What is a chain?
A chain essentially means that those people selling this house need to find another house before they can sell and let go of their house, so they're not stranded or homeless. So yeah, just make sure, you know, find out if it's on a chain, where in this chain you are. If you're a first-time buyer,
then you're right at the bottom.
You're right at the bottom, which is a good thing. Everyone wants a first-time buyer because they don't have any other legal obligations anywhere else.
They don't have to sell something to move in.
Indeed.
So good.
Also, try to find out if the property is a freehold or a leasehold. A freehold essentially means that you own both the house and the land. So at the land registry office, your name would be, you know, pretty much written down as the freeholder of this property. Whereas if you are a leaseholder, that means the house is yours, however the land isn't yours, and you can buy or extend this leasehold. Leasehold would sometimes go between 10 years to sometimes 999 years. However, if it's, you know, pretty much lower than I believe 90 years, you will sometimes have problems, as they say, reselling that property with that lease. So you might want to extend the lease on that property. However, you can, as I said, you can actually buy off the lease of the property, but some, you know, leaseholders might be a bit tricky to buy that off.
The other thing I was going to say as well is the majority of the times, most houses are freehold and most flats are leasehold.
Yeah.
So if you're going for a house, the likelihood of it being a leasehold is very unlikely.
Yeah.
So yeah. So number 6.
Number 6.
Get your lawyer.
This was the fun part for me, I'll be honest with you, because I love saying. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm talking to my lawyer. I've always wanted to say that. I've always wanted to say that. Anyways, get your lawyers. It's always good for you to go for a lawyer that's been recommended to yourself by perhaps a family member,
someone who's used them before,
someone who can vouch that they are actual, you know, they know what they're talking about.
Yep.
It's very important that you get one that's not too far away from you. Reason why being because buying a home could be a stressful time. It could be a very, very stressful
It's not could be, it is.
It is a stressful time. So if you're, like in our case, we were getting married.
We're planning a wedding and buying a house at the same time.
So in some people's cases, they're expecting a child. So you could be going through a lot at that time. So make sure you get a lawyer that would make life so much easier for yourself.
So try and get one in the same city.
Indeed.
Or even in the same area that where you live in. Why? Because it makes life so much easier. Imagine, you know, for example, our circumstance was when it came to actually posting our contracts away, we'll post a contract and we'll call the lawyer on Monday.
Yeah.
Post it on like a Friday post it on a Friday or a Thursday.
Yeah.
Monday morning, have you received our contract?
Nope.
No. We're like, what?
Tuesday, have you received? No.
No. So it was like, and at that moment, you're like, you're not just thinking about you, you're thinking about the seller as well, because they want to make sure that the ball is rolling. So it's the thing where, you know, what you do,
I had to drive down there,
and drive and submit it by hand. Yeah. And that made life so much easier. Because can you imagine if you picked a lawyer who was in Manchester or Birmingham and driving 3 hours to Manchester, like you're not going to do that. So it's just also nice to have a lawyer who's close by.
Also, try to find out how big this firm is. Find out what they've got going. The lawyer that you're speaking to, I'll tell you guys this one, alright? Don't be afraid, especially when you're paying for their services. You're paying them for their time. Yeah. So question them, ask them before you go into any, you know, exchanging of payments or whatever, because that becomes a contract now. Yeah. You're dealing with lawyers, so they're very, very intelligent people. Just bear that in mind. My dad's a lawyer, my sister's a lawyer, I know them. They're very intelligent people, so you need to make sure you ask them the right question in the right way. Ask them, do you have any holidays planned? Yes, no. If yes, is there anyone else here that you're keeping up to speed with my case, so that, you know, if you do go on holiday, they can pick it up and it doesn't slow down the process?
Or you can even find out whether, you know, if it's just like a small firm that's only 2 lawyers in there, then that's not going to work. Because imagine they both come down with a flu and they're not answering calls. So make sure it is a big enough firm that obviously you wouldn't want someone else taking over your case, but in the likelihood that that had to happen, there is someone there to take over your case. Also as
well, try to find out if there are any hidden fees, because the last thing you want is for them to take on your job. You think that you're paying X amount, and then when it comes to paying back the bills now, they then bring back, okay, so this was in the contract, this was that, and then you can't really oppose to it because you've already signed the contract. So just make sure, is it a fixed fee for this, or is it that? From the beginning, ask them, okay, so for instance, if I'm buying a property worth £300,000, what is going to be the stamp duties? What's the lawyer fee? What's the research fee? Land registry? Ask them, break every single thing down beforehand, before I tell the agents to send you anything. Just break it down for me so I know once and for all what I am paying for.
The other thing is, I don't know why this happened, but do not use the same lawyer as whoever the sellers are of your property. So whoever you're buying the property from, do not use the same lawyer.
It would be a massive conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that. And also as well, do not use the lawyers that the estate agent recommends to you. Don't do that. Why? Because there will be a massive conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like me wanting to sell you something and I'm saying, what's it called? Don't try it on, let me try it on for you. Like, I know what this thing does, and I know, do you know what I mean? So I know how to make it look good.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, that looks good, yeah, because I know how to use it, sort of thing. So you're more likely to go for it. So it's just don't do
just don't go for the same lawyer. Get your own, get someone who's been recommended, and that way there's no conflict of interest, and you know, you can rest assured that that lawyer is working on behalf of you and you alone.
Step number 7, offers. You've been to the house, you've viewed it, you know this is the property for you.
Well, not just one, you've put offers for many, remember?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Don't just put one and be like, I'm gonna get out.
Okay. So if you see a property that you like, it tickles your fancy, put an offer in it. If you see one who's got put an offer in it, you go there, it's hot case, you're not limited. You're not limited by how many offers
so
you can
basically, you just put an offer on as many as you like.
As many.
Don't put offers on houses you don't have any interest in.
Exactly.
It's just a waste of time. But if you actually see and you're like, okay, this is decent, put an offer because you put an offer.
You're not legally buying at this point. And I'll tell you the trick that I do. At a point, let's say for instance, alright, I have, I don't know, let's say 300 to play with, okay? I don't immediately go ahead and just put in 300. I'll probably start from 250. When you get to 250, give them a ring, say, you know what, put in 250. Get them, tell them, I want this property 250. But, oh, you know it's been advertised for, so I know how much it's been advertised for. I'm giving you this amount of money, so you take it. Okay, cool.
Right.
But before they have time to perhaps maybe assess or think about it, I ring them back again and I say, you know what, remember that 250? Scrap it. Let's say 265. Oh, really? Yeah. So then now they know that you're serious, you know what I mean? They know you've been thinking about it. We've come to your senses, now you're talking business. They'll run it through the sellers, and if they say yes, if they say no, they come back to you, you tell them, okay, you know what, now you're stretching it, you know what I mean? Like, I got a missus, and sometimes she needs that hand, you know, that handbag, the purse and everything, so mate, I tell you what I can do, I give you a tenner, and that's it, that's all I can do. I give you, that's what I mean, I give you a tenner on top of the what's it called, 265.
275.
So now let's make it 275. Speak to them right now, just let them know I'm waiting for them and tell me what they say. Mate, look, I tell you what, they want £5 on top of it. £5? You joke? Okay, I tell you what, 2.5.
Final offer.
That's the final offer. I'll give it 2,500 on top of it, not 5. I don't have the 5 to play with. And pretty much just try to stretch it.
Yeah. Don't go, for example, if a house is being advertised for 300, don't go ahead and say, okay, put 300 down. No, put something a bit lower. The reason why I say this is because it's very unlikely that, you know, a seller will just go with the first, you know, offer that you give. They are trying to get as much money for their house as possible.
And the funny thing about it as well, if you are a first-time buyer, if you told them this, look, mate, look, I have my offer ready. I have every single thing in place. I want to close as soon as possible. No seller would, in their right mind, think to themselves, oh, let me stall on this. No, the opportunity is right there.
So if they're ready to sell, because you have some sellers where they're not really ready to sell. Unfortunately, they are just, you know, they're wasting time. But if you have a seller that's ready to sell, the chances are that they'll snap you up.
And this is where, when you said don't get attached to the house, you need to put this at this point here. Because if you're not emotionally attached to this house at this time, you are in a better position to negotiate, and then you can just, like, you know, stand firmly and tell them, look, this is what I can give you.
Because the last thing you want is to put a higher offer than what the house is worth, and then later on you're thinking, oh, why did I pay this much for this house? Don't you like it? Though it's a lovely house, it wasn't worth the amount that you put on top of it. So just be aware, just think. So that's why, to be honest, I let him do all the negotiations, because I knew as soon as the agent said, oh, they didn't accept this, they want 10k on top, I'd be like, okay, put 10k on top. 20k, okay, put 20k on top. I'm not the best negotiator.
I'm the type of person that I would get an offer and accept it for a lower price and still be so vexed at myself that I could not go lower.
Yeah.
So that's how I
let him do all the negotiations.
And also you need to pay attention to your scenarios. If you go to a property where you know this property is going to get snapped up quickly, don't waste no time.
Don't be silly.
Literally, you've got to start off on the right foot with this one. Don't go then giving them an offer of 250. No.
Knowing that the house is going for 300. Yeah, give something close to 300, like at 280. Because you know other people are seeing what you're seeing. Don't just think, I've been to this house and I was the only one there. No, people have been doing viewings probably before you, or are going to do viewings after you, and believe me, if they're serious, they will put the asking price sometimes or even more.
What we did when we viewed it, we would sometimes put an offer like 5 or 10 minutes after the viewings.
Yeah, always. So be
Literally.
quick, be fast. If you saw a house,
Immediately.
get into your car, get into the street, call up the agent and be like, look, I've just seen this house on so-and-so road, I'm ready to put an offer, and they'll just get it all done.
Okay, so still for number 7, so let's say for instance, boom, your offer's been accepted.
Yeah.
What do you do now?
What do you do, Corey?
If your offer's been accepted, I tell you what, alright, this is where the Kore comes into play. I used to love this part, don't roll your eyes. So what you do at this point, alright, you tell them immediately, tell the agents, remove the advert from the page. So the one that's, just tell them it's sold, put it on the page, I want to see it. So that no one goes after you to view or anything like that.
But sometimes they don't remove it
Immediately,
until you have proven that you're ready to buy. Because what happens is that a lot of times, you have to put yourself in the seller's shoes as well. Yeah. Sometimes they can get an offer and they're like, oh, I'm going to offer you this, I'm going to offer you this, and they don't have the money, they don't have the means.
Indeed, they don't have the deposit. I remember some of them actually told me, send over a copy of your bank statement, letting us know that you have the money in place to follow on with the process.
It's just for the seller's safety, because if they remove a house now, it looks as if, you know, they've removed the house and then people have seen it being popped up again and be like, what happened? Maybe something's wrong with the house, so they won't want to go for it. So you have to be able to prove that you've made your offer and you can stick to that offer.
Secondly, when that's all sorted, tell the agent and also liaise with your lawyers. That's why it's important to have lawyers that's easily reachable. Liaise with the lawyers and the agents. Tell them to send the memorandum of sale to your lawyer, so your lawyer then has the memorandum of sale and they know that this offer has been accepted by you. In that case, then you're pretty much good to go and essentially go to the bank.
However, if this property is on the chain, so say for example your offer's been accepted, however your seller, they need to find a property before they can let go of theirs, you have to bear in mind that there might be a bit of a waiting period, depending on how long it takes them to find a property.
But at the end of the day, once more, do not be attached to this property at this point.
Because if they're taking too long, you can always go somewhere else.
You're a new buyer, and I used to tell you this all the time in our process, saying, babes, we are, we're at the good point of this at this stage. Why? Because people need to sell their house to buy another house. So regardless of however long this chain is, they need us. They need our money because we have the cash ready.
Of course, So of course, but if you're strapped for time, for example, if you have a baby on the way, if you're looking to get married, if you need to move for work and you don't have long, then of course, if they're taking too long, you have to detach yourself and view more houses and get another property. Number 8.
Step number 8.
This is where the banks do a survey.
Indeed. So now you found your property, you've gone to the bank, you've given them the details of where the house is, how much it's selling for, and they pretty much have received it. They've done their credit check on you, the real credit check. You've passed it. Your offer's been given. So what the bank now do is they send their surveyors to survey this property.
What is a surveyor?
Essentially, the different types of services, especially when it comes to property, there is a home buyer's report and there is a building survey report. So the home buyer's report literally essentially goes down to perhaps maybe the foundation the property is laying under, if there are any cracks in the walls, any mold, anything. So anything that could cause problems to this house. So what you can then do is say, you know what, no, I'm not going into buying this property. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to buy this property, however it's going to cost me X amount to fix all these problems to prevent this property from falling. However, what the bank do is they do a very, very intermediate survey of what the property is. So they'll come in, sometimes they'll come in, have a look around. Sometimes they don't even come in, it depends on the criteria of the lenders themselves. They come in, they have a look around, say yes, all good. The property is actually at the address that it says. It does have that many bedrooms.
It's still standing, it's worth the money.
So it's a safety net for the lenders to know that if anything goes wrong with you and they repossess this property, it is still sellable and they can get back the money that they'd invested back into you. So that gives them the assurance that yes, indeed, they can lend you that money.
Once the bank has finished their survey, they will now take all your details and send it to an underwriter.
Indeed.
So basically, everything that you started from the beginning, your pay slips, your SA302 forms, your what else do they need? Your bank statements,
letters, your cover letter from work,
your cover letters, your ID, your passport, your driver's license, every single thing that is pertaining to yourself, they will then send it to an underwriter. And
don't be discouraged at this point, because in some cases, sorry babes, in some people, the underwriters comes back to them and say, you know what, we need more details.
A few more things.
And then, you know, ask them, what do you want? That's why you need a mortgage advisor who you can speak to.
Exactly.
Don't just go for someone who takes a no for an answer.
Yeah.
The underwriters come back with a question, they're not bothered, so therefore they say, you know, it's just not working. It's just not. So these are things you need to be worried about. So if you, perhaps maybe in our case, the underwriter doesn't immediately comes and say yes, and they come and they say, no, we need more. Don't be discouraged. It's not the end.
So
of
the
the
underwriter,
just go back.
The underwriter is just a person that will do a more thorough check on everything to do with you, to just make sure that yes, indeed, you can afford your monthly repayments. Yeah. So they'll just do everything with a fine-tooth comb and just make sure that you know you can afford it. So like he said, they might need more evidence. Don't worry, just bring them the evidence that they require, and you might just go ahead and go straight through.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So number nine, step number 9 is your fees. So by fees we mean we're buying a house, there are so many fees. Don't think, oh yeah, I got my deposit.
I got my 10%. I got my 10%.
I got my 10%. It's cool. It's easy. Life's good. No, you need to have money.
You need to have enough money for the if you're going to do the land survey, because I know some people who actually did not do the survey and it worked out fine for them. They just went with the standard. That's why you need to pay attention to what benefits you're getting from your bank. Some banks would give you a free survey, but a very, very standard survey. But don't think it's a home buyer's report. It's not. It's a very, very basic standard of survey. And some people go with that, and it works out for them. Some
can give you cashback. Have a look on there as well. Obviously, you do this before you start your mortgage process.
Way before. I say you do this at like stage 3 when you're looking to get the AIP. Yeah. You go online and you check.
You see what is offering the best, and you just go with it. Yeah. So with regards to the fees, just consider your lawyer fees, because it's not just about I've paid my lawyer. They will require stamp duty payment. Yeah. It will require land registry payment. You will also require your deposit for your house.
That's why when we said at that stage when we said picking a lawyer, you need to tell them to break all of this down for you. So your lawyer, so when you're ready, you essentially pay your lawyer the lawyer fees and all these other fees at once to the lawyer. So prior to you reaching this stage, step 9, you already know how much cash for cash you're looking to pay them.
So always check out for stamp duties, because there was a point where there was no stamp duties on houses.
Yes, but it recently changed.
That changed, so we had to pay stamp duty.
Yeah, we had to pay money. We had to pay.
Okay. So by now you've probably heard back from your lender. Everything's good.
It's good to go.
Or it's good to go. So at this point, I would say view your house again.
View it again, but this time, go there with it's a magnifying glass.
Yes.
Go there with a magnifying glass. Check everything.
The reason why we say check everything, because at this point the contracts haven't been made, and if there is anything that you see could be an issue, could be a problem, you could add it onto your contract. For example, maybe one of the taps are not working properly. There's no water coming out of it. You can alert your lawyer.
Or maybe the boiler isn't really working properly, and that could probably set you back 3-4 grand.
Yeah, so you can tell your lawyer this, and they can add it onto the contract that this must be fixed before the house. Exactly. Or there could be something else. It could be cosmetic. You might find that, I don't know, there aren't enough sockets in a particular room.
Indeed.
You can say add a few more sockets and we're good to go.
So make sure you check every single corner of the house.
Because at this point you can still make a few changes, not major, because of course everything's still gone through.
You
can still make a few.
Since we don't want to put any families out there, let's use ourselves as examples. It worked to our benefit as well, because when we came to our house, that was when we realised how much more space we had.
Yes,
we didn't realise that.
I was gonna say, because even when you first view the house, maybe you've only been.
Why don't you just take my point?
Oh, sorry. When you first view your house, you sometimes have like maybe 10 other people there, 5 other people there. So you're rushed because you have like a 10-minute.
Or you got an appointment, you got to be at.
Yeah. So you're looking, and you're just breezing through the house, not even looking properly. So when we came again, we were like, oh, I didn't even notice this was there.
Exactly.
Oh, this is actually bigger than we thought.
Exactly.
So we were noticing things that, oh yeah, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
However, just be careful that you don't notice any bad things. But then again,
that's
you can
good,
write it down.
However, when you go for this viewing, try, if possible, try to go and book it at a point where the homeowners or the recent owners are there, so that they can actually break it down.
You can even ask that they be there, because some people just expect, oh, let the homeowners not be in the property. I don't know why.
I know.
I even thought that.
I was reluctant until we actually met on
yeah, because I was thinking,
and it was good.
Should they be there? Like,
yeah.
Should they not be out of the house? So why are they there?
No way, it worked to our benefit, because I really just got from them that genuinely, you know, they're ready to move on. They're not selling the house because
they want to get rid of it. They were lovely people.
They were lovely
really lovely people, and we're glad we met them.
Indeed,
and they gave us a few tips as well with the house and everything. So it's always good, and it's always good as well because, for example, remember when we didn't know how to turn on the heating, so they left us like a piece of paper, and it just had like things like how to turn on the heating, where the heating was placed, where the boiler was, when bin day was, and so you can pull out your bins. So it was very nice of them to do that. So
extra information, alright, and it's always good to have that good relationship with them, because at a point later on, as we said, we did make some mistakes, and some mistakes that we made later on, the homeowner then later on assisted us and on his half, you know, with that mistake. So then we came back and then we, you know, got the property, and the help that he gave to us from the mistake that we made that could have, you know, perhaps cost us more money or slow down the process. We essentially found everything where it needed to be.
Exactly.
So it's good to have this relationship with them.
Relationship with them as well.
So I would say they saved us a lot more money. Speaking to them, also finding out, different characters of the house, of the neighborhood, and so you get to know the property that you're getting and how much is potentially
and
worth.
Sometimes as well, like they left us some nice features of the house. They left us their fireplace.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we kept on texting each other as well. Remember?
Even after.
Even before the closing period, we were texting each other. Keeping update of the process. So my lawyers are working, or your lawyers working? Yeah, they're working. Okay, so we're hitting deadline. Yeah, we are.
So that was the moment.
Fine. It was good.
At that point, when we came to view the house again, that was the moment where we decided the closing date. So we were both face to face, and we were like, okay, this looks like a good date for us to close. It works for us too. And we decided from there.
So it works out that way.
Okay, so step number 11. This is where you do your lawyer runs. This is the running around part of things.
And that's why it's important, once again, to pick a lawyer that is very close to you.
Yes. So at this point, you will be getting a lot of correspondence from your lawyers, their lawyer to your lawyer, your lawyer to yourself. So it's a lot of things going on.
Indeed.
At this point, this is where you need to have a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a piece of paperwork sent to you, make sure you understand everything that's on the paperwork.
Every single thing. Read through everything. If you've read through it, read through it again.
Yes.
And again, and again, and again. Read through every single document, even the bank's one as well. That's when you realise you maybe have given the wrong figures. Our one we had with the lawyers, they got back to us on something to do with the shared access way.
Yes.
I had no idea what the shared access way was. Like, I lived in a flat, so the only access way is through the lift or through the stairs. Yeah. So before that, I didn't know what I was talking about. So we thought that the shared access way was through the garage, but it wasn't. It was just literally a little brick that's intruding onto our property from our neighbour's property, but the brick
we share a brick.
The brick is not that big, and that's called, and because it's from the access way of our property, it's called a shared access way.
We share a brick.
Because the brick intrudes, and so I'd say so you need to make sure there is, a lot of clarity with this thing.
Yes. At this point as well, you might even get your final contract. I remember at this stage we didn't even know that this contract was final. We thought it was just like a preliminary contract.
Exactly.
But it was the final thing. Make sure you read through everything. You'll also get a sheet of paper. I don't know what it's called, but this is where you would have what the owners are going to leave in the house, what's going to be removed from the house. So for example, they might have, I don't know, something that you don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
Trash.
Yeah.
Make sure it says they're going to remove it, because sometimes if they leave it, it could be an issue, and you can
unwanted
also
clothing.
Yeah.
But then be careful, because there's sometimes where I've actually heard of cases where people take the curtain, take the carpet, and they take the sink. Like, mate, be careful.
Yeah, because
read through everything.
It's so precise that it would say exactly what's being left.
Indeed.
the wallpaper has been left.
Yeah.
The light bulbs are being left. So you have to make sure all of that is there, because if they're telling you they're going to take all the light bulbs, they're going to take all the curtains, your house will be bare.
That's why you have a lawyer in the first place.
So make sure it has everything, because because sometimes they can say they'll take it.
I know, that's why you need the lawyer to confirm that it's been put on paper
that they're going to leave. But it just means that if they're taking it, the moment you come into that house, you're not going to have any light bulbs, you're not going to have any curtains, so your house will be open for the world to see.
Or for instance, if they say, you know what, we've just put in a new boiler, 5 months ago, we're taking the boiler with us, and if they put it down and say, you did, okay, that's fine, but remove that off the cost of the house, because that's going to cost you a few thousands of pounds to install it and to run that. So you need to bear that in mind. So
number 12, this is the good part. This is the happy part. How come you're not dancing?
Oh, because I wasn't dancing at the point when it was time to exchange.
Yeah, exchange.
Alright, mate, I wasn't dancing.
Oh, okay.
I was not dancing. I was, at this point, you're nervous. It's nerve-wracking.
You're nervous. I was not nervous. At this point, I was sleeping like a baby. I was like,
At this point, because it's my responsibility to make sure everything, does run smoothly at this point. And exchanges basically means that your lawyers are exchanging the contracts. So, and then at this point, when the lawyers come to you, they say, okay, you've sent the contract over to us, now send the deposit over to us. You send them, be it the 10%. If you're looking to do more than 10%, at this point you only send them the 10% deposit, and then any further run from here, you then send them the remnants of the other percentage you're looking to give to them. So what they then do, they take the 10%, send it off to your the seller's lawyers as well with your contract, and their lawyers also send to your lawyers their contracts, and now you've exchanged the contract, and it becomes a legally binding contract from this time on.
So there's no going back.
No going back.
All.
That's why you did the second viewing, to make sure you're making the right decision. So from now on, all you essentially have to do is just wait for the lawyers to do their job. So now that your lawyers, of course, can confirm that they have received documents from on both ends, there's not pretty much you can do. So of course you exchange, you wait for a closing date. And some people,
you've already decided your closing date.
Yeah, you wait for the closing date.
Oh, to come.
So some people, they essentially they exchange and close on the same day. However, some people, set a closing date, probably, I don't know, a few days after.
Or a week.
Which we did. Was it a week we did?
Yeah,
it was a week after exchange. We're looking to close. And when on closing date basically means the day before, or perhaps a few days before, you send the rest of the deposit.
So if you're putting more than 10%, you would then be required, for example, we put 25%.
Yeah, so we then send the 15%.
Send the rest of the 15%
we then send the 15% over a few days before, as well as any other lawyer fees and things like that.
This is where everything, like literally your fat bank account, goes to a nice skinny bank account.
So basically your lawyers confirmed to the bank saying, yes, we had the rate on the remaining percentage or whatever, go ahead and release the funds to us, and we'll release it to the sellers lawyers. And that's pretty much what happened. So on closing date was one of the best days of my life.
No, but before that you were stressed.
I was very, my friends,
you Googling.
I was like,
they said relax.
Googling. I was Googling, okay, so what would happen if it doesn't go? If you haven't heard from your lawyers on the closing date, what does that mean? I was Googling everything. And it was so funny because every research just kept on telling me, relax.
I was telling you, relax.
It was insane. It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money.
Like he was just stressing out. Like you're gonna be so stressed.
I was stressing out, knowing as well that we were planning a wedding. At the time was a very, very stressful time for me.
Boy,
so my mates could see, and at that point I didn't really want to tell much people what we were doing because
we didn't tell anyone.
We didn't tell anybody at all. Because people would of course want to follow up. Genuinely would want to follow up on the progress of things. And sometimes when they remind you that your lawyer is not moving fast enough, could be quite depressing.
Yes.
So you don't really want people asking you what's going on in this.
What stage are you on now?
Exactly.
It's just like, leave me alone. Let me just do this out myself.
So at that point, it was a lot for me to carry on my shoulder, and I couldn't really express my worries to you because I just wanted everything to go forward.
Point is, don't stress.
Stay stressed.
Exchange means it's gone.
It's done. Okay.
So step number 13 is your closing date and getting your keys.
Oh, hallelujah! That was the best day. One of the best days of my life.
So you basically saw at the start of the video when we got our keys. So that's how we were feeling.
I'll tell you what happened. I remember that day so clearly. I was at work and I knew it was closing day. So the entire day at work, I could not focus. So I was at work and I had received, I tell you what, right? I'd actually called up my my lawyers, but the lawyer did not pick up, so his secretary then picked up. And she was like, it seems like everything is going according to plan, but I don't really have much of a progress yet. When I hear from the lawyer, I'll pass it on to you. I said, no problem. So then a few hours later on, I got a call from the agent, and then the agent then said, your keys are ready to be picked up. I could not believe it. No, I couldn't believe I got whooped. I was like, why is my agent calling me, the estate agent? Shouldn't my lawyer be telling me this? So then what then happened was I called up the lawyer, and then he said, oh yeah, I think the agent got to you before me, but turns out that, everything has gone through. So if the agent's calling you, that means congratulations, you have your house. I was like, Susan, where are you?
I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh, we have a house. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, she's like, okay. But yeah, that essentially means you got a house. So those are the steps that were broken down. But once again, people's steps could be different. People's experience could be different.
I was also gonna say, when you've got your house, when everything has gone through, when it is your property. So that means your insurance should already be in place. From then on. And if anything happens, it is down to you. So though this is like a joyous moment, it's the best moment, it is also comes with a lot of responsibilities because you now have a house or a flat.
So this is when you start thinking, okay, do I start repainting, decorating and stuff like that? So
we're gonna make another video relating to how
all
you
this
can
stuff.
save money.
So in actual fact, I mean, we've touched on different topics here. Get to us, be in contact, you know what I mean? Like,
if there's something you don't understand and you want us to elaborate more on, then just let us know. You can, DM us on Instagram. You can, contact us in some way.
Slide in my DM, not her DM. Especially guys, slide in my DM. Okay. If you're a guy, you're looking to get any questions answered or whatever, come to me.
Alright. Cool.
Okay.
So just don't be afraid to ask questions if there's something you're not sure about, and we'll be willing to help.
Yes,
we'll be making more videos relating to the house, to other questions that we've been getting asked, and basically
just stay tuned. Subscribe, share it. Don't be selfish. This is quality information. Share it.
Share the video, like the video, make your comments.
If people shared videos from the UK, we won't be here in the first place. That's why we're here in the first place.
So if you know someone who's going through this right now, or you are yourself, share the video. Just share the video because
share the love.
Share the love, and don't forget to subscribe. But we want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for all those who have been supporting us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it all.
We really do. We really do.
Till next time.
Till next time, indeed.
Bye.
Peace. Bye-bye.
Tip number 2. Go for the cheaper option.
Go for the cheaper option. And I'll tell you this now before she speaks, okay? Susan is the cheaper option champion. Like, I don't know how she does it, but with me, I tell you what, I'm a man. So sometimes when I see things, boom, I just want to buy it. I just want to get it. I don't have time to look around in the store and things like that. But with Susan, jeez.
You have to shop around. You have to shop around. And if you are, trying to save money, then the best way to do it is to shop around and to also go for a cheaper option. By that I mean, say for example,